This mouse is almost a decade old. It's the G302 Day Dallas, the Dallas Prime, such a sick name I can't even pronounce. My mate was kind enough to give this to me when he moved places a week ago, so now I have the chance to see whether this thing can hold up against the gaming mice nowadays. This isn't a wireless mice first off, but none of the gaming mice back then really were wireless. It just wasn't as reliable back then, so that's okay. What really surprised me were the bottom of the mouse, because they actually used X-ray pad jades for the mouse feet. A decade old mice, nah, I'm just kidding. The original feet were really puffed up. I could push down on them like a soft mouse pad, so I had to swap them out. Anyways, onto the shape. It's definitely not my favorite, honestly. I haven't been able to get a consistent grip on this because I usually grip further down, but on the G302, that's where the mouse is at its widest. It's not like I can't grip it, but it's not the most comfortable thing. There's also sharp edges that curves the sides in towards the back, and my pinky doesn't really have anywhere to sit that'll allow me to firmly grip it. They've also made the back side soft touch instead of matte, and it feels kind of disgusting. It gets dirty easily, and fingerprints show very well on it. A good thing that I've noticed though was that the build quality of this thing was pretty solid. It's only got very minimal creaking, and that's when I put a lot of force onto the top shell, and the weight is also surprisingly not bad. It's 87 grams, which is considered on the heavier side, but I expected to feel the weight of this mouse a bit more because of the smaller size, but so far I haven't noticed any additional fatigue when using this mouse compared to other lightweight mice. The coating is good. It's not the grippiest like what Lamzu and Endgame gear have to offer, but it's better than a lot of the budget mice you can get right now. The cable does tug a bit when you use it, but it's definitely not something that will affect performance a lot. Even without a bungee, I was able to do fine, especially when you're concentrated on the game. The G302 uses the AM010 sensor, which I've had to search up and still have no idea what it is, but what I can say is that this sensor has held up really well. Honestly, it feels on par with the 3370, which is insane to think about, but it does get noticeably smoother when you swipe the mouse really fast on the 3370. I don't know if the sensors back then were this good, or that the sensors now are just at its limit on how much you can improve them. Even better, the best thing of this mouse are the clicks. They've rated 20 million clicks, so I'm assuming they're using Omron 20Ms, but they feel absolutely amazing. The clicks are so crisp and light with no dullness to it, and have very little pre and post travel. They feel much better than the original G Pro Wireless and the G Pro Superlight in my opinion. In terms of latency, I don't feel a difference, to be completely honest. Data could probably show a difference, but in real use, it's not noticeable. The scroll wheel is whatever. It has steps to it, but they're very shallow and not very defined, but for a scroll wheel, it's not bad. Last thing I'm gonna talk about is the battery. This thing never dies because it just doesn't have a battery. This is probably the thing that does make me want to use something else, because I've gotten so used to having a wireless mouse that's convenient and also looks cleaner on the desk. Even with paracords and mouse bungees, they just don't look as great as a mouse with no wires attached, and it's so easy to get used to it. So is this mouse good? Of course it is. Would I use this mouse? Occasionally, yeah. But would I get this mouse? Hell no. There's just too many mice out there that can do the same and is wireless. While I did enjoy using this mouse a lot despite not liking the shape, it's just not something I would go out of my way to use, much less buy it.